Hi my friends, this is Pat Sloan. Welcome to my neighborhood. We're here in my studio on my fireside chat for Monday night. If you're new to my channel, if you're new to my fireside chats, I'm so happy that you're here. If you're watching on YouTube or you could be watching on Facebook, I've got it running in both places, and I during these videos, which are pre-recorded, so I can chat with you when we do the premiere, which means it's the first time it's running. Then I come on while it's running and I chat with you in the comments down in over here. So that's so much fun. If you have not yet subscribed, if you can go down and then after that, click the bell. And so be sure if you are wanting to get notices that you do the bell after you subscribe. Because then you'll get the a notice, a ping that a new video is coming. I always do that for the videos that I like, so I want to see what's going on. So in my fireside chats, I'm going to tell you about what I've been working on this week. Some thoughts about things. You know, there's always things, whether it might be something that we're talking about in the Facebook group, or might be a comment I read, or just things that I personally am, thinking about. I'll chat about that. Show you some new products. I'm going to open the sampler box, which I did not open, nor did I look at what was going on. I know, I have willpower, and then I have a giveaway at the end. So you want to stay all the way to the end. Now I want to be sure I get everything I'm talking about. There's always a lot going on right now, and so my brain is busy. Not me, no, I'm busy, but I don't like to say that. It's really like my brain is a little too busy right now. I've got like a lot of things to keep track of, and we had some things finished, like the Witch's Night Out finished, but then I'm starting all the Bonnie Lane sew-alongs, but they'll be a little bit more sequential. If you're doing the Winter Wonderland, we just had the ornament block, and so you see I'm sewing mine up as I go. So here is, ta-da, look, there we go. So I've got all of the rows, and then the ornament block was the one that we just did. Now this is still, there are still kits for this, so if you love these fabrics for this quilt, it's called Sleigh Bell Sampler from the Winter Wonderland, and I'll link everything below. So if you're on either this video watching it now, it's like below the video are all the links, and it also sends you over to my website. If you're watching it on my website, the links are there, so you can find them. Just click to see more. You know, a lot of times people say I can't find the link. Well, it's right under there. You need to click it to open it. That's just the way Facebook and YouTube work. I'm sorry, I can't change it. It's their default. So if you want the kit, there's still some of those, because then you can do the fabric exactly like this, which is really very similar to the book. And the next 3 blocks, we have 3 more blocks on this, and here's the cover. Whoops, sorry. Here's the cover. You can't see this block. That's the next one. It's a house. It's really cute. And then there's the snowflake and the present. I'm glad the present is the easy one, because, by the time I get to the last block, sometimes I'm like, please do not make it a hard block, because I want to be done. It's like, do you ever get that feeling on a sew-along? It's like, please don't let the last block be hard. So you'll probably rarely find me with a hard block as the last one, although sometimes they might be. Sorry, sometimes they are. We also started, ta-da, Winter Fun. I'm in that winter mode. So here's Winter Fun. That's the first block for my Block Wednesday. And you have been creating such cute blocks. This one was Make a Snowman. It was about having like the first snowman that you build of the year. It's always exciting, whether you like snow or not. I don't know somebody who doesn't enjoy building their first snowman for the year. I mean, it's, if you just isolate that one incident, it's joyful. And so I am curious if you have, I'm probably going to poll this over on Facebook, but if you're watching this in my website, you could leave me a comment, because I'm curious what other fun sewing things, fun winter things do you remember, have memories of, or enjoy doing now? Like, I have my own list of fun winter things. Remember, there's only like 9 blocks in a setting, so it's only like 10 fun winter things. So I'm going to do a poll, because I'd like to see what all of you think is fun. So I've got the rolling case of my rolling assistant over here, and this today, I don't have the actual tote bag right now because I sent it to the Fat Quarter Shop, but today is the day that other people are making the tote bag for the trick or treat. And so I also took that panel and made the placemats. So there is the placemat all finished up, and I went through my stash and found just a black dot for the back, because then like I can put this side so the shipping department won't get this side messy. Do you have messy people in your family? Like, you put placemats down for a purpose, right? They actually use them. Food gets on them. So like, I'm not ready for food to be on the pretty side of these yet. And there's the pumpkin. Now there's still some of these panels left. There's not many, and I think the kits might be, by the time you watch this, kits might be sold out. There were only 3 of them a little earlier today. And then you can just make up your own from the panel, and the panel you have extras. You could do a set of placemats. That's why I did that. Okay, this was the other big, no, let me not show you that one yet, because I want to show you 2 parts for the Out of This World. So, okay, let's talk about this. Coming up this week, I'm going to go ahead and do 1 block of each pattern from the Perfect 5, and that is the new cute little ruler and the book that is using charm packs. And I asked you what you thought. Should I do a mix of charm packs, or should I take the Jolly Bar, which is 5x10, and cut it in half to get, you know, all my charms? And a lot of people voted for this, and I'm kind of leaning this way to do the sampler, but I'm only going to do 1 block. There is an official sampler that the Fat Quarter Shop is doing, which is really pretty. It has multiple blocks from each of the quilts in here, but I am going to just do 1 block, and then I have a day on the tour. So one of the days on the tour is mine. So like here, this is really cute. Like, this will be that's the block that I have for the tour day, on my day of the tour. But there's a bunch of really cute blocks in here, really clever ways. I like the little houses. Where are they? Here. This is so darn cute. Isn't that cute? And you do a whole row of a whole quilt of those. So darling. So in a perfect world, I would have actually done the first block and shown it to you today, but that didn't happen. So you just get to see the fabric. Next time I will show it to you. The other perfect world thing would have been that I would have made the runner, which we're starting this week. I didn't make the runner. I am going to, and what I'm thinking is, you know, this is with my Bonnie Lane. It's only 4 blocks, but I'm thinking tomorrow I'm going to make the runner and do a little video. Do you think that would be cool? Not a super production, high production video, just a little short video of showing the block and how the construction is. Because I don't really edit these. I just sort of do them right away, right through. So I'll just do a little bit about the block and talk about it and show it to you. Because we'll do 2 blocks. I'll sign 2 blocks this week, 2 blocks next week, and then I'll also quilt it. And so I thought, well, I'll do the video for that. And I'll use my walking foot and do walking foot quilting on the table runner and show you an option for that. So I would have liked to have gotten my act together. I didn't, so that's for this week. Yeah. But it'll be fun. If you already bought some of my Bonnie Lane fabric, you can you know, just use the pieces that you have. And I've got the charcoal, the blue, the green. That's the colors I'll be using. So I'm pretty excited to have that running. I think I'm actually going to hang it instead of use it as a table runner. I'll see when it's done, because I have a space in my kitchen that I need something, and so I might just I might do that. Did you watch my or see my photo? Did I do a video? I can't remember. I may have done my Facebook Live. I did the Facebook Live. I did, and I showed you my studio where I hung up the new quilts. Here, I'll switch it around so you can go see. Move you around here. Ta-da! And there I hung I did another version of Crush, which is what the red and white quilt is, and that is an older version that I had from a while back. It's in fall colors. And then you can see up at the top, there is the leaf pattern that came out this week from my interview with Olfa. Okay, there's the same quilt done in the red and white, and I'll give you a link to all that. Take you around a tour. So I did that tour. I also changed out the quilts in my living room. So put up the Witch's Night Out, and I had the, because I did the small version, and I changed the quilt over the sofa and the table. Then I had to make a new pillow cover because I needed that color in there, and so I did that. I actually did the pillow cover. I just made the fabric. It's not like a patchwork or anything. And then I just put the existing pillow inside of it, just because I wanted the green, because there's a lot of green in those quilts in there, just like this one showed green. So that's what I did. What do we got? So let's talk about Out of This World. Out of This World was my block of the month that I do with a company called freequiltpatterns.info, and they are a company that builds websites, and one of their big customer bases is quilt shops. So they build websites for quilt shops, and for 6 years now, I think, I've been designing a unique block of the month and running it there. It's 10 parts, so we do January through October. And we just finished the October one. It always has a theme, like all of my sew alongs. So this year, the theme over there was for the monthly was Out of This World, and I had this super cute. To be careful of my cord here. I had this super cute fabric, which had the moon and everything. Here, I'll lift that up. Can you see them? I think you can see them. So this got finished, and I'm so excited. Let me just do this. There. So if I'm holding that, so you can see it a little bit more. I'll put a picture on my website. And this is the backing fabric, which got me started on the whole thing. Besides the little moons, the moon faces, this backing fabric is so darling with the big moons and all the animals. So cute. So I'm going to talk about sleeves on quilts. So this one, as I'm standing here, you can see this fabric sleeve? Because there's no quilting there, right? This is a sleeve so that I can put a hanging rod. I do it like on a curtain, like a dowel rod. So I can just put, not a dowel rod, a curtain rod. So that's what I have here, which is hanging. Let me just take you over there again. Well, you just see it up here. See there? I have the curtain rod on. In order to hang it on the curtain rod, I just find it easier to put a hanging sleeve. And so I thought I would just get this on my lap, and I would show you a little bit about the hanging sleeve, because I think a lot of people, you make quilts to be used, and so you're not actually hanging them. Whereas I started everything I ever did, I started out quilting like, I'm going to hang this. That was my primary goal to make a quilt, was to hang it on the wall. So I probably have about 25 quilts hanging on the wall at my house, if not more. So I do hanging sleeves for bigger ones where I can either hang it on a dowel rod or hang it on a curtain rod. And let's take a look. So when I do the sleeve, I don't want to do any extra work. So let me just... So what I have is a strip, and I've taken this end. Let me just come a little closer. So on either end, I've just folded it under, usually twice, and then I straight stitch that. Then I press under a 1/4 inch the fold here. So that's pressed under. And then as I'm going to put it into the quilt, before I put the binding on, I lay the sleeve out. So the sleeve is on here, and then I put the binding on. So the sleeve is all ready to go. Let me come back here. What I do is I use the Roxanne's glue, and this is the glue holder that I like right now of theirs. It's got 2 ends. They have several different applicators, but this is the one I like. And then on the other end is like a wide tip, which I pretty rarely use. That's pretty big. A lot of glue comes out of there. I don't really want that much glue. So I use the other tip. But what I do is I just glue this down. So I just run a bead of glue under here, and then that is what holds this down until I stitch it. And so I will just, when I'm stitching, I am just slip stitching it. And I thought I would just show you how I get ready to do that and how I thread the needle, because I think a lot of people don't realize how to use a needle threader. The one kind of needle threader that I use anyways, there's lots of needle threaders, but I use the Clover one. Okay, let's get everybody in the picture. So this is the Clover needle threader that I use, and it's pretty self-explanatory, but there's a couple little things that people don't realize, and then they're not as successful. So let me just I'll show you how to do those. So it says the threads, the needle slot, which immediately means a hole. That's a hole, and this is a little cutter here. So what we're going to do is take a needle, just whatever your hand sewing needle is, and I will take the eye of the needle, so the eye end, and stick it in the hole where it says needle slot. So it goes in the hole. Now, let's see if you can see this. There, you can see it. See, it's in there. See the needle's in there? The big deal is that some of us curve our needles. Like when I'm holding a needle, I tend to do this. I like curved needles. This one's pretty straight. It's a pretty new needle, but I actually like to curve them, so I will sort of bend them a little bit so that they start to get a curve on them. But when you're doing this needle threader, you really need it to be standing up straight. And if your needle's curved, it could be leaning, over. What you need to do is just sort of get it propped up, because what happens is when we push this, we're going to put some thread, but when we push this, there's a little hook, and the hook goes like this and gets the thread and pulls it through the eye of the needle. And that is how it works. And so what happens is people don't realize that. I mean, for the most part, it always gets the hole, but if you don't have the needle in there straight, so the eye is straight, if it's angled, it can't get there. Okay, so I'll take a piece of thread, and there's a sort of just a little slot here. I'm just laying it. It's nothing particular. You just lay it there. It just sort of nestles in there. It doesn't, isn't that hard. You just lay it there. You're not trying to thread it in there or anything. You just place it, and it just lays there. And now what I do is I want to be sure, like especially if you have a thread that started to curl up, I want to be sure it's coming back towards the lever end, and that you don't have like threads like just all over the place. I just like to sort of make them nestle back, and then push down the lever and let it up. At this point, that little hook went through, grabbed the thread, and came back. Now this is where sometimes people get a little overzealous. They take the needle and they just whip it out of here like that, and when you do that, you unthread it, because it's only going through the eye just a tiny little bit, just like when you're doing it on your sewing machine. It doesn't like go through 3 inches. It only goes through like a little fraction. So let me take that out and show you. So can you see? Let me get it where it's over the white. There we go. See, it's pulled, the little loop that's pulled through, and then I just pull it. This is a total lifesaver for those of you who have trouble with the eye of your needle anymore. Let me talk to you here for 1 second. The biggest deal is, I think, unthreading it when you pull it out, and also having a curved needle where it went in like this, so it's not straight. So what you have to do is you need to, if you've got a curved needle, don't have it be sure that the bottom part where the eye is this straight and the curve is somewhere else, but just the bottom needs to be straight in there. If your needle eye is too tiny, it won't thread it, and if it's a really big needle, it won't thread it. There's other threaders for those. So I'm going to do a knot. I just make a loop on the end of my finger, and I just roll it off. This is what I call a 5th grader's knot, because that's where I learned to make it. I'm sure some of you do that. It is not pretty. It just sometimes makes a big lumpy thing. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, I put my finger the wrong way. Can you see it? It's just a big lumpy knot. So when I'm going to sew this, let's see, get down here. This is just hand sewing, which you know what, I don't do enough of anymore. I really find it relaxing and meditative, and I need to do more of it. So here is, I just pull it in and get that knot in there. And then I usually will go kind of just about 1/4 of an inch in from the edge, and then I'll go back out. I don't know, I feel like there's going to be some pull and weight on this sleeve, possibly, and so I just want to be sure that end is secured. And so there's where I go. And then it's just basic whip stitching. And because it is a, I come from originally hand applique, so I tend to try to, make sure my thread is not seen. And then to do that, I use as matching thread color as I can. This is not a perfect match on thread color, but it's what was out. So here I am. When I'm doing this, which is the same you might do for hand, I would do for hand applique, I will go in to the background right across from the thread. I'm not traveling. I'm not going in advance of it. I want to go in right across from it and then go through the fabric and pop back up. Because basically I'm going right across the street, right across like this. So there's no traveling. I don't want the thread to travel on the surface. I want it to travel underneath the fabric. And that's how I do applique. I'm also kind of coming up right in the crease. So let's see if I can get that. Yeah, so I'm coming up like right in the crease and not like 1/4 of an inch in. Like I don't come up and come out over there. Whoops. So I don't do that. What I do is I come up right in the crease. And I find that makes it more invisible. So you give it a little tug every so often and it snugs it all up. And that's how I do sort of my hand, this is how I do my hand applique. So because I know how to do that and I've done it for so long, that's pretty much how I handle doing sleeves and labels and any other, handwork that I have to do. Okay, so that was a little mini discussion. In a perfect world, I would do those mini discussions as their own videos so that we could search them again, but that'll come someday. Right now, I'm focusing on doing the fireside chats every Monday and also being able to maybe start doing a little extra video every so often. I did one last week on picking the fabric for the winter fun. And so those are the kind of things I want to start doing. Some sort of short, 5-10 minute of something else during the week. But I'm not promising those because until I can get ahead of the game, right now I'd sort of focus on what I already have commitments for. Okay. I have not opened the sampler. For those of you who don't know what this is, it is a subscription box from the Fat Quarter Shop, and you get on the wait list because they only take so many, and as the openings come up, people will get it for a while and then they'll stop, or they'll get it as a gift and it lasts 3 months and then it's done, and so then that frees up slots. When it frees up a slot, you'll be notified if you're next for the opening. They have a wait list thing. And what I like to do is I like to show it to you because there's new products in here. And you can get all of those new products. There's always one exclusive, and it's a pattern, and sometimes it's an object, sometimes it's an exclusive object. And even those, sometimes they had extras and they'll put them on the website. So I'll show you the box, and even though if you didn't subscribe, you can still see what was in it, and if you like something, you can go get it. So that's why I do it. I think it's fun to see new things. Okay, let's take a look. Whoop. All right, so there's always a really cute item on the top, or like a theme for the box. So this is Think Pink. So I'll go ahead and come down here, see what's in it. And on the back, you always get a coupon. On the back of this, there's always a coupon. So for those of you who are subscribers, so like this month, the coupon was for a percentage off of Motive Fabric and a percentage off of Martingale books. And my publisher is Martingale. So if you have one of these and you haven't gotten all my books, you'll be able to do that. So what did they put in here? This is so pretty. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. That's what I love. They do such a nice job. Oh, how cool is this? You know, October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Be sure you got your mammograms, ladies. And men, make sure those women in your life go do that and get healthy, stay healthy. So they always have a little card that tells you all the things that are in here, and the other exclusive pattern is always a sew-along pattern. So, ooh, cute. Look at the bobbin holder. That's a really nice one. I like it that it's pink. Nice pink bobbin holder. And gorgeous color cuts. This is a Moda sort of pre-cut line that they did, where they took a lot of fabrics from different designers and bundled them up by color, which I think is super cool. So this is a pink one. And then, oh, I have one of these. You will love it if you got the box. If you don't have the box, you need to get one of these. It's got a magnet on each end, so you can do that. See, whoops. See, it's got a magnet, and then you can put your little wonder clips in there, and then the top you can cut thread. So it's got a thread cutter up there, which I love because I keep it over by my ironing board for when I chain piecing, and then I just come and go ch-ch-ch-ch. And if I've got clips or need pins, they're all there. So this is over by my ironing board. So that's what you get. And then there was the pattern that uses these, and that is an exclusive. Occasionally they put those out so that you can purchase them. Neat, very neat box. This is really pretty fabric, and I'm kind of low on pink, so who knows, I might keep that. I might just keep that. Okay, so I actually just realized that I forgot to tell you my snack chat. I got all excited about other things. So I usually talk about some sort of a snack, and this week I kept from an event I was at these cookies with caramel inside. They're Dutch, and so it made me really nostalgic because I'd seen these when I lived in Europe. And there's caramel, and you put them on your coffee or tea or hot chocolate, a warm drink. If you set them on top, it'll warm up the caramel a little bit, so when you eat it. So I'll open it so you can see what one looks like. They're really neat. So they're this wafer, and they're a little bit crispy, and then inside is a nice thin layer of caramel that you can melt. So totally yummy. These strupels. So I'll link over to where you can find these on Amazon, so you know what they are. So I want to talk, before I do show you the giveaway thing, I want to tell you I've been thinking a lot about organizing. I think about organizing all the time. If you've been with me a while, you know that. But I have a lot of things for the business, and we've been in business 20 years full time, going, so ending the 21st year, and stuff comes in, and you know that because I do use it for my giveaways, and it just gets a little overwhelming for me to organize it sometimes. And I realized recently I have to reduce the number of quilts I have, because not everything is reusable anymore. Some of the quilts that I made 19 years ago, let's say, are just not current. They were maybe small projects that were done for magazine. And so I have been thinking a lot about, I just need to document them, because wasn't actually very good at documenting them. So that's a true confession. I really like documentation, but for some reason I did a poor job with my own quilts of keeping track. I kept all the magazines, but I didn't keep a document and keep a photo, something long term. So for the ones I wanted to find new homes for, I need to document them and then determine, what I want to do with them. Probably they will go to a charity. I'm not sure, but that's a big process. I have over 600 pieces, and I started a stack. I have a stack about this big, and then I stopped. And I realized the other day, I was thinking about this, I realized I am not spending any time actively making it happen. I had a friend recently say to me, well, just photograph a couple at a time. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. Did I do it? No. And so I am probably, you know, maybe you relate to that. Maybe you have some task that you feel like I really need to do that task, and you make no effort at all. You think about it, you plan about it, you talk about it to everybody and their brother, but you don't actually do anything about it. You just think about it. And that's where I am on this. I've decided that I have to stop thinking about it because it's not going to happen. So I will need to start getting these out and making time. I thought, well, what if I just gave myself 15, 20 minutes twice a week? Like twice a week for 15 or 20 minutes, I get a group of quilts, I put them up on my wall back behind me and photograph it. Then I have to save the photo. I have to, you know, document it, because if I want to go look for that quilt later and I forgot I gave it away, I need to be able to find that information so I don't make myself nuts. So there is a bit, I need to put my process into place, like how will I get it documented, you know, build my chart, you know, that kind of stuff. And once that's in place, then I think I can do, you know, 15, 20 minutes of just put them up, photograph, document it, and just do that sequence. So it's a process. It's a big job, and I think that's overwhelmed my brain. And now I'm ready to break it down into much smaller pieces of just a handful of quilts at a time, and then eventually they'll all get done. A few years ago, I actually sorted them all, but that is no longer that sort. I had to find something and I had to move something, and you know, it was maybe 5 years ago I did that, and now they're just not like, they're a mess again. You know, they're just not in any kind of order that I can find things. So that is that's what's been on my mind. I've been thinking a lot about this, and I really am going to put all that in motion. And I'm going to start with that stack that I got, because I know what that stack, I know that's the stack I'm not going to keep. There's lots I know I'm not going to keep. I just need to start getting them out of our storage room. We have 3-bedroom house. One we sleep in, one is Greg's office, and one is storage. So we have a fairly small house. And so they have no basement, no usable attic, and Greg's got the cars in the garage. So, you know, so we only have so much space. And just like many of you, you only have so much space. And so it's time for me to go through that after 20 years. You know, I've only really done this for a few pieces. So I have most of everything I've ever made. A lot. All right, let's wrap this up. Before I leave, I want to show you behind me. I did set the beginner quilt. I've set both the blue and my Bonnie Lane. That's my Bonnie Lane. So on Thursday, I'll be showing you that, because the beginner Ultimate Beginner Quilt Along is wrapping up. You still have to set them and then quilt them and bind them. So I will not be doing all 3, just so you know. If I get one of them past this point, I will be happy, but that's iffy too. Okay. True confessions. Okay, so last week my giveaway was for this bundle of lots of yummy things in here. And I am just going to tell you who won. And that is Connie Matthews. Yay, Connie. Everybody go, yay, cheer. Well, Connie said, my question was like, where did you learn to sew, or who did you learn to sew from? And she said she originally learned to sew a tote bag and home ec, and then it was a fairly long one. I'll leave it in my website. You can read it. But the synopsis is that her mom was really excited that she made this tote bag. She used it for a long time, but that's pretty much all she sewed. She didn't really sew anything else. And then when her mom passed away, a couple years ago, she got all the machines of her mom's. Her mom's was a passionate sewer. And she eventually decided that she would learn to sew, and she would take a class. And she recruited, which I think was brilliant, Connie. I think this was brilliant. She recruited some friends and her sister-in-law to go and take a class with her, so that she didn't feel like she was the only beginner. And basically, she got a buddy system. She brought her buddies with her. And now she is totally loving sewing. So this is going to Connie. And I've emailed you, Connie, or I will when this is done. All right, now today what I have, and you're going to you're going to leave your comment over on my website. So the link is down there over on my website, not here, wherever here is you're watching this, unless it's my website. So I have a bundle of fabric this week, and I'm probably going to toss another few little things in here. But the bundle of fabric is from my friend Ann Sutton, and it is these really cute Christmas fabrics in pinks and browns. Look at this. Look how darling that is. And the green, I really like 2 shades of green. It's so yummy. Here's the snowman in the stocking. Just so cute. So the question is, what challenge are you working on right now? What personal challenge? I just told you about mine. That's my personal challenge. It's something that only I can pretty much do. The shipping department can help me a little bit with photography, but he's not going to go look up all the quilts and stuff. I mean, he might help me a little bit there, but I need to put it all together. I need to put it in motion, and then I can ask for help. But I can't assign it to anybody else. So what kind of challenge are you working on right now? What have you sort of had to sit yourself down and say, okay, how are we going to make this happen? And it might not even be quilting. It might not even be sewing. If you have something else that you wanted to share, I always feel good if it helps me say it out loud, which is often writing it out to a friend. And if you feel like you haven't had a place to do that, use the comments at my website. That's what I'm here for. So friends, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here, and I just love all of you. You are incredible community, incredible neighborhood of quilt makers over on my Facebook group. And if you're not on Facebook and I'm seeing you on Instagram or down in my blog, I appreciate you equally, and all of you together. Thank you guys. I'll chat with you online.